Welcome to the Huron Valley Now podcast, where we highlight local stories in business, life, and giving back. Today, we're here with Olivia from Ridgemere Farms, and we're hearing their exciting story. They've been making a mark in our community lately as they've been growing. And Olivia, I don't know, what was it like starting out? How did this stand begin?
Yeah, so the stand was actually supposed to be a replacement lemonade stand for my youngest brother. During COVID, actually, my dad, our family's always been into farming. We own 33 acres. We've been doing like small gardens on the land for quite a while, especially with my grandparents. So over COVID, we hadn't done anything in a while, so my dad decided to start a tomato garden so that my brother could sell tomatoes from the road in replacement as a lemonade stand, just because we live in such a rural part of the community. So we grew too many tomatoes, way too many tomatoes. And what turned into a small table is now a full-on farmer's market for the whole community, basically.
It's beautiful. It's cool to see something start small and grow big. And you mentioned your dad and your family. You've got a little bit of an interesting connection to the community, don't you?
Yeah, so my dad, my grandpa actually started Colasani's Market, which is in, it's technically in Highland, but most people relate it to Milford. But that started in, I think it was around in the 70s. My grandpa started that, so my dad soon took over that market, and it's been sold twice now since we've owned it. But so my dad has all his experience from owning that market and turned it into what we now have at Ridgemere.
Yeah. And so now he's coming out of retirement and helping with the farming here.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, you're out of retirement now, so it's always a funny joke.
My dad always says he doesn't want to retire because that's when you die.
Yeah. You gotta keep moving.
Doing stuff.
Yeah, I know he does a lot for the business. I'm out at the stand, I'm helping customers, I deal with the employees that we have out at the market and organizing. So my background is actually in design. I have a degree in art and design, so the layout of the produce is probably one of my favorite things. I also have done all like the marketing with Instagram and Facebook for the business. That's really, I think, pushed us up a level. A lot of businesses nowadays don't know how to use social media to their advantage, and I think my background there helped us start out for sure. Whereas my dad was mostly make the signs for the road, so we put out like garage sale signs saying like fresh tomatoes, but he also obviously has great sales experience and marketing experience when it comes to the customers and dealing with other farmers. When we got too big to only sell our own produce, we had to move to other local farmers that he already knew from Colasani's and growing up working with their older families. So like their grandparents now, their kids are leading on. So you just see the generations throughout the whole entire business aspect of it, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Tell me a little bit more about how you grew from just the tomatoes to taking in some other local farmers.
Yeah, so the same year that we started out with the tomatoes, my dad had already seen, I guess, how many people were willing to stop on the side of the road for fresh produce. So that opened up his mind to bringing in other fruits and vegetables, which we had some others. We just had a surplus of tomatoes, so we just threw out tomatoes at first, but then there was zucchini and cucumbers and onions, and then what we didn't grow ourselves, like he started to reach out to some of his old farmers that he knew for watermelon, which is a larger crop, and then cold crops like cauliflower and broccoli, which are a little bit harder to grow on a small farm. And once he started that, then he already had in his mind that we were going to start a greenhouse the next year, which would have been, I think, 2021. And when I thought greenhouse, I thought he'd be growing more plants for vegetables in the greenhouse, but he actually meant for flower retail. So that's what started our flower business. So now we open up in the spring with flowers and vegetables once the Michigan harvest season comes around, and ever since then it's just been another greenhouse, another stand, and more tables, and just keeps growing because people keep coming. So
I'm curious how you got into the flower thing, so that was cool. And then you mentioned the layout of the stand. How much thought goes into that?
Yeah, so everyone keeps saying like, oh, when are you gonna build a building? Like, when are you gonna put up this? And I think part of why everyone loves to come to us is because it's in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
And that's just, you have beautiful scenery to work with, so it's not very hard to work with it when it comes to that. So the layout mostly, as much as I hate to say it, goes to my dad. He knows how everything has a flow, and I'm learning so much doing everything as well. But when you start a business, what a lot of people lack is the idea of how a business flows with customer service. So the employees are a big part of it, and me and my sister were the only employees to start out with. My brother was there every once in a while, but like guiding the customer through the whole entire thing is very helpful, but also to have that momentum to begin with is a huge thing. So to have the flow, to make it a circular pattern all the way to the checkout so that everyone sees everything instead of like skipping one section. So it's always in the back of my dad's head to be like, oh, Olivia, you can't put the tomatoes there because no one's going to walk around to see them. So it's just kind of having that history there to help guide where we lay everything out and how everything is set so that customers are able to have the best experience as well as best experience as a business for them to see everything that we have to offer.
I love hearing all the thought that goes into it, because when I come to visit, I feel that. I wander around, you have fun actually looking at everything.
Yeah, you want to keep going. You don't want to just be like, okay, that's all that there is.
And you mentioned social media. What kind of strategies did you use on social media to grow the awareness?
Yeah, so social media, social media is hard because there's such a disconnect there as well, because it's over the phone and you're not person to person. So one of the biggest things is I didn't start doing this actually until I think it was last year when I did videos of me talking, and when people saw me talking there was a lot more response from that because everyone was like, oh my gosh, she works there, like some people know me as the owner. And so like seeing a familiar face and seeing me kind of talk to them, a lot of people came in the next day and were like, you're a video star, and I'm like, I just posted on Instagram. But yeah, you just need to create, and even in the captions, if you aren't comfortable doing videos, which me not all the time, some days I am, some days I don't really want to be in front of the camera. So captioning it to be exciting and having those photos taken to make it look exciting and have, I don't want to say perfection, which we always strive for perfection, but there's imperfection in everything. So to have it be as comfortable and personal and kind of just go along with what we're trying to do, which is serve the community and help the community get fresh local produce that is good and healthy for them. So kind of just go along with what people want is all you got to do.
And has there been a video of yours that's been like your favorite to make so far?
Oh gosh, no.
No,
I don't really like to look back at them, to be honest. But people seem to like them, so I try to keep going at it. But
it's funny how many content creators feel that same way. They're like, no, I just get the content out.
Yeah, and then forget about it after. But I actually I made a cookbook based off of the market, which was I was in college when we started, so I was in at U of M pursuing my degree in art design, and we had a senior thesis project. So I decided to do, actually last minute, a cookbook based on all of the recipes that I've gathered from the community through Ridgemere, and the cookbook follows the Michigan harvest season. So you start with Michigan strawberries first in the cookbook, and what recipes you can get from that, which I got from the customers, my employees, stuff that I've tried out myself now that I'm able to get my hands on all the fresh produce as well, even though I've grown up with it. But just me starting out adulthood and trying out new things in the kitchen is always fun. So
It's such an awesome idea. And how do people get the cookbook? Do you sell it at the stand, or?
we sell it at the stand. I was trying to get it online, but it's mostly just at the stand. But what I started the conversation is I created this video on it mostly for holidays, because it's a lot of people have bought it for gift giving, just because cookbooks are like one of the number one things to, I think, like listed on to buy your mom or your grandma for Christmas. So it's just a great opportunity, especially if you live in the community, to be like, oh, this, and it's, my name's on it, so everyone sees the name Colasanis and automatically affiliates it with the market, which is totally okay, because the market is part of the community and it highlights Highland and Milford and just all around. So it's personal and it's homey, and it's called homegrown and homemade. So it just gets you back to your roots, kind of.
Okay, I really love that idea. Can you share maybe some lessons or some interesting memories that you have from working with your family at the stand?
Working with my family, well, there's always the ups and downs.
Yes.
So I don't have any really specific memories. I always like when I can get my youngest brother is, he's 14, so whenever he's out there is always nice, because it was his stand to begin with, so he should be out there. But as a 14-year-old, you're not always focusing on work. That's not your priority, which is completely reasonable, and I totally understand. But whenever he's out there, it just is more comfortable. It's always more fun. When I get him like restocking the corn, or he knows how to drive the tractor now, so that's one of his favorite things to do, and it's just always nice seeing him out there. But it's mostly me and my dad out there every day, so I don't have like one single memory that I can pick up from that besides just us working together and getting through each day. Basically, we always unload the truck full of fresh produce in the mornings whenever he goes to the farmers to get it. So I mean, we do everything together, which is nice. A lot of families don't have that and can't have that or aren't willing to, and so it's nice to always have those roots.
Yeah, it's a unique and wonderful experience. So I'm glad you appreciate it. And talking now about some of your produce again, do you have any like secrets to growing awesome produce? Because you've always got great stuff there.
Yeah, there's not really any secrets. It's just, if you want your customers to come back, you have to make sacrifices. Farming isn't always perfect, and you always have bad produce, and when we do have bad produce, we don't show it to the customers. We just take, I don't want to say you take that loss, but that's just what farming is, and that's what the harvest season brings. So if you find something bad, it doesn't mean that the customer needs to get stuff that's bad as well. So we always try to keep quality on the shelf. We teach our employees, we teach even our customers what's good and what's bad. I'll pick out 2 tomatoes on the shelf and show them like the difference. And with our squashes, like there's certain spots, watermelon, there's like 500 different tricks that people know, but I always just do like a thumping test. But the more people know, and the more our employees know, and what we know about our produce, the happier people leave. So, and the more people come back to get that quality produce. So that's one of our number one things that we follow, is quality for the customer specifically, but not necessarily from the field. The field is always kind of whatever the season brings. So there's not really any tricks there.
So there's some ups and downs with farming. What are some of the ups that you've had?
I don't know about a lot of ups, but we've always, our first year our tomatoes grew wonderfully, and we were able to sell heirloom tomatoes, which are always hard to find in places because number one reason we took them off our shelves is because they bruise so easily, and with so many customers it's hard to keep them around. But our pumpkins too, we had a great year for pumpkins in our early years, and when you're able to grow your own stuff, you're able to grow different stuff. So everyone loved we had these dark green pumpkins, some of our in some of the early years that everyone fell in love with, and so it just keeps bringing people back whenever you have different stuff. Or we had mashed potato squashes, one of our also key signatures that unfortunately did not do so well this last year because of all the heavy rain we had really early on from some crazy weather that we've been having. But that squash is also something that only we grow, so it's just something that we like to highlight every now and then.
It's unique that we value having local produce, but also there's a lot of ups and downs, and it's tough to produce and get it all the way to the farm stand.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, all the way through the season.
And you're getting late into the season now. When can people expect for things to start closing down?
Yeah, so I think people are kind of shocked by how much stuff we actually still have. We'll have a decent amount for another at least 2 weeks, but apples keep good basically for at least half the winter, so we'll still have apples. We will sell out eventually of some varieties in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but we should still have those close to or even after Thanksgiving, as well as potatoes are very hardy and they'll last you all winter long, so we'll have the potatoes for Thanksgiving dinners. Sweet potatoes, we're also widely known for our dirty potatoes, which don't have any preservatives, which is what you don't want to see when you get potatoes from the store, is the preservatives to stop them from growing more potatoes, I guess. But they are just straight out of the ground covered in dirt, so you have to take them home and wash them in order to serve them. But that's just always cool to see. We also will have winter squash, and we have so many different varieties of winter squash that so many people aren't familiar with. Most people only know the top 3, which are acorn squash, butternut squash, and spaghetti squash. Well, we have probably, I want to say 10 to 15 different varieties of winter squash. So it's always fun to go into the kitchen and try different things, especially when it comes to family dinners, to be like, oh, this is my new favorite squash. You have to try it. We also will have onions for quite a while, as well as cold crops, which include cauliflower, broccoli. Brussels sprouts should last pretty long as well.
Yeah. And looking forward into next year, do we have anything exciting to look forward to? Do you have any plans starting yet? Or
yeah, so next year, every single year we've had a new greenhouse, or we've extended a part of the stand, or done something. I think next year we're about at our limit. So I think next year I just want to have more events to not draw more people in, but create more of a community around Ridgemere. It's starting to get kind of overcrowded with not customers that I don't know, but customers that I want to know closer. So having events like a lot of people don't know how to can produce, and that's something that a lot of people come to the market for, is to can stuff to keep over the winter, like canning salsa or canning tomato sauce, or even pears, or freeze drying and stuff like that. So having a presentation about that, or doing for kids paint a pumpkin event, or during flower season you could do paint a pot for Mother's Day. Just planning some events like that would be super fun for next year, I think. And now that we've kind of become stationary in where we are and we like how the business has grown, I think I'll finally be able to organize stuff like that, just to keep the community coming.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited to see those events grow, and I'm excited to attend some of them. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Final, I leave everybody with this. Do you want to share any words of wisdom with the community? Do you have maybe a mantra or something that you always carry around with you?
I feel like I'm too young to leave words of wisdom, but I think one thing a lot of people notice is just kindness. I walk into so many businesses, and not to my surprise, but just not even rudeness, but a lack of kindness towards customers. And it just kind of shocks me how these are your customers, they're helping your business, like this is your community, how could you not greet them with a smile? So a lot of people notice smiling and kindness, and we always try to go above and beyond for each customer. So that's what I would do for everyone, and recommend for every new entrepreneur, anyone out there. Just treat everyone with kindness, and they'll give it back.
Awesome. That's an important message.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining this episode of the Huron Valley Now podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
This episode was sponsored by the Cairo Tribe Chiropractic.
When you're ready to embrace a healthier perspective tailored to your needs, discover a world of wellness with the Cairo Tribe.
Everybody say, bring not bone alone. Come on, bring not bone alone.
At the Cairo Tribe, we specialize in easing daily pains and discomforts at our House of Wellness, where we focus on what truly works for you.
Everybody say, bring not bone, hey, bring not bone alone. Everybody say, bring not bone alone. Yeah.
Experience the difference at Cairo Tribe Chiropractic and Wellness in Highland. Call or text at 248-800-6214